Hey, good evening and welcome. My name is Rob, aka Lantern Noir, and we are gathered tonight for episode 3 of Ravenloft 1921, a pre-modern twist on the original Curse of Strahd adventure. Although we're not there yet, because our first task is to get the party leveled up so they last a little bit longer once they get into Strahd's domain. Because we don't want a TPK and, too early.
We almost did already.
No,
we don't want a TPK and have to buy new character art. Who wants that?
Yeah.
You're not completely wrong.
Forget the character, think of the art.
Yeah.
Which is
Not
really...
You can't kill us, we're expensive.
Well, I do have a money-back guarantee on the artwork.
Wait, for...
Based on character death?
Well played. Shadow, glad to have you here tonight.
Based on character death?
Something like that.
Yeah.
That could be heavily abused.
Yeah.
I keep dying. I don't know what's wrong. It's like I don't know how to play.
I must project kind or something.
Also, I was listening to mummy-themed music to try and get myself into the zone, and all of a sudden it turned into Star Trek Voyager. And I was really confused for a second.
That's an interesting twist on Curse of Strahd I haven't explored yet.
Curse of
Space.
Strahd in space.
Star Trek Strahd. And now I'm thinking Star Wars Strahd.
Okay.
And I'm thinking like Jabba the Hutt.
Oh no.
Going around the table, let's do a round of introductions. Who are you? Where do we find you if we can? And who are you playing tonight? And what was that character's childhood toy that could never, ever hurt them?
I don't want to answer that.
Who are we starting with?
Oh, Arwen, based on that.
Oh, okay. Well, now I have to think. Just going off of where we left off last week, I don't want any other time you could have asked that and I would have been all over it. I'm Arwen Atreides. I am playing Amelie St. Clair. And I feel Amelie's not super fussy, so I feel like she would just have, like, despite having, all manner of fancy toys, she would just be like that one stuffed animal that you carry around until it just falls to pieces, and your parents try to hide it different places, and she finds it. She found it every time, and it's just like, this stuffed cat is not going anywhere.
Fair. Kaidapon?
Hello, my name is Kaidapon. You can find me literally probably almost anywhere under the same username. Like TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, anywhere. I'm just gonna put that out there, anywhere. And I'm playing Darling Odessa, and the childhood toy that couldn't hurt her. A yo-yo. Mostly because of those jokes that were made historically in the Philippines that our ancestors used to hunt with them. And she weaponized a yo-yo when she was younger. Just because she was just like, I want to learn how they did that, and then, yeah. I'm sure it could hurt her, but, it's good. It's fine in her hands. It's fine. Why are you making that face?
Weaponized yo-yos?
Yeah. You haven't heard that rumor that like Filipinos, like back in the day, we used to hunt with yo-yos.
Yeah, just put some blades on the two sides, like a saw, and then just whip it out.
You have like a decently long string, and you knock something out of the tree. It's fine.
That works.
June, you're up.
Okay. Hi, I'm June. You can find me nowhere. I exist in the void only to play D&D. I am playing Lady Agnes Devereaux, the rogue explorer. And Agnes didn't really play as a child. She was very much into her books. But when she did play, she would have these little tiny dolls, like little figurines, and she would line them up, give them each a backstory, and then decide how they killed each other.
That sounds
Okay.
on track, on brand, actually.
I'm
Yeah.
not entirely convinced Agnes is not actually the story's villain.
She would give such elaborate backstories as to why they would end up dead. And it was a new person every time.
OuterDork, you're up.
All right, I am the OuterDork, and you can find me pretty much nowhere. Let's see. What would Luis have had as a toy as a child? His family was pretty poor, so he probably just played with a stick. His stick was his magic wand.
That tracks.
Yeah, okay, we can see that. And my name is Rob, aka Lantern Noir, and I'm going to be playing everybody else at the table, not the least of which is the only other survivor of their plane crash, Caitlin O'Divine, girl from Galway, who also knows a thing or two about maintaining parts and planes and cars, and is just kind of an all-around mechanic to get things up and running as needed. However, when we left off, she was not with the party. She was somewhere else in the house. A little bit of housekeeping. There are still redemptions left on the code that just popped up in the chat. You are welcome and encouraged to join the game tonight by using some Stream Loots cards. I'll remind everybody of that periodically. And in addition to Stream Loots cards, your bits will also let them twist their fates should they need to, which, as we will find out very soon, they might need to.
What?
We'll have to.
I don't like that you
We'll
said
have to see
that.
how.
Yeah,
things go.
no, I'm not okay with that.
So, when we last left our intrepid heroes, they had explored this manor in which they had taken refuge from a storm following their plane crash. It seemed harmless enough, abandoned manor up on the rolling hillside of somewhere in Eastern Europe. How bad could it be? And in so doing, discovered multiple spirits still infesting, plaguing the house. Once inside, they've explored it. They've discovered at least 3 significant spirits and 2 spirits inhabiting children's toys, possibly former residents. They've picked up the toys, and the house has reacted, acknowledging that the children are now theirs to take. If I recall correctly, Arwen snagged one of the toys and someone else has the other one? That would be
Wasn't me.
Louise has the other one?
Louise has
Yep,
the
I got it.
Cool. And as they started to make their way out of the bedroom into the children's playroom, various toys have come to life to block their exit. We ended last session on a roll for initiative Daddy Wisdom. Thank you for staying up at this ungodly hour for yourself and joining us. Hopefully you can stay long enough to enjoy some of the session. And thank you for priming the Book of Fate. So there's a little nudge to that to kind of get you all started. We
Whoop,
appreciate
whoop.
that.
Thank you.
And Willie Nelson has also joined us. He wants you to take risks as he further primes the pump.
Oh,
Oh
Also
my
mention-
goodness.
yeah.
That every purchase of a Stream Loots pack this weekend puts you in a drawing for stuff. And I didn't dig too deep into it, but I do know like a console of your choice is in the giveaway.
Wow.
For streamers, there's an Oculus in the giveaway. Now,
Oh,
granted,
dang.
this is spread out over all of Stream Loots, so we are not talking high probability
Oh.
competition here.
I thought it was you, and
No,
I was like,
I'm
"Dang,
not
that's
giving that
really
away.
good."
I'm not giving that
Very
away,
confused.
but Stream Loots across the board is. So it's a 1 in a million shot, but 1 in a million is infinitely higher than 0.
This is true.
Just saying. And they're going to give it to somebody. Why not you?
Why not indeed?
So, anyway, enough with that banter and the back stuff and all the other good stuff. Willie, we're glad you're here, by the way, especially post-surgery. We're glad that it's going well for you. We love having you in our chat. So there's all that. Are there any addendums to the minutes?
I have a quick question. Do you want me to
Yes.
reset my hit points? I'm the only one that's taken damage so far
Have you
from
had
the exploding. I did last week from the exploding.
Have you had a short
planchette.
rest?
No,
Have you had a long rest?
no.
Then no.
Okay. Well, sometimes we do at the beginning of a session, so I wasn't sure. I was just clarifying.
No, because with Waterdeep, that was every one of those events was the next day.
Gotcha. Okay.
No. You're still in trouble.
Okay.
Not really. You're shaken, but not yet stirred.
I'm shaken.
Okay. So, as you have an opportunity to look around the room, you see 3 toys starting to clamber out of various shelves and cabinets with which to intercede. 2 of them would best be described as self-animating marionettes, each one armed with this massive metal spike. They're the ones coming from the windows. The cabinet right next to Darlene bursts outwards as a large straw-stuffed doll stumbles towards her.
Oh, hell no.
And on that note, I would love you all to roll me some initiative.
Initiative. What's the wrong window?
Okay, so I come over here. I push a
my
DAP
game
button.
is lagging hard.
Mhm.
Did you turn
on my
on
screen.
hardware acceleration?
I did not. I'm going to do that now, but I don't know. What did I roll?
Really, we don't know either.
That's a 9, 11,
It's
19, 11.
11.
9.
Oh,
Well, it equals 11, yeah.
yeah, we'll go to 11.
All right, I'm gonna-
So, Amelie comes in at a 24. Our monk is not to be stopped. Darlene with 11. Louise with 9.
Shaken but unfazed.
Yeah, ready to get in there and bust some heads. In a spiritual sense.
In a spiritual sense.
The spirituals.
Okay. Speaking of which, our monk has the first action. What's she going to do?
Okay. So I'm looking at the map and I don't see anybody on there. Oh, there they are.
Third floor.
Never mind. Third floor.
Third
I
floor.
made that mistake too.
Okay. I was like, wait, I don't see anybody. Okay. Well, I have a child in my hand, and I'm just gonna make for the nearest door. I'm gonna just head a straight line and take a swing at whatever that is in front of me with my parasol, aka my
Club.
quarterstaff.
Quarterstaff.
Yeah.
Is that what we ruled it was?
Mhm.
Yeah, I believe
Okay.
so.
Quarterstaff
That's what I
it
have
is.
written down.
Works for me.
Right. That's a 16 to hit.
16 against that should be sufficient. Yes, absolutely. Are you kicking in flurry of blows?
Ooh, that's a good question. This is my first encounter as a monk.
Yep.
Sure, let's do that. Where is flurry of blows? Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
So now you can make 2 unarmed strikes.
Okay. So do I roll twice then?
So let's put them all down there and then
Okay.
we'll do all the damage.
Okay,
Oh, wait, no,
so-
that'll muck up D&D Beyond. Roll the damage for your parasol first, and then take each
Okay.
of your unarmed strikes. Because if any of
Okay.
them crit,
Okay, so that is, there's 2 numbers there.
on the quarterstaff?
Yeah, there's 2 numbers.
the
It's
top one 'cause
1d6
you're
plus
one-handed.
the top one. Ah, okay. New class, everybody.
No problem.
All right, that's a 9 from the quarterstaff.
Okay.
the
Stuffing and
parasol.
straw goes flying out.
Sweet. And then I hit on the flurry of blows.
Yep.
Hit that. I make an attack with that. Okay.
Yep. You've already got one that you rolled, and you do another one. That would be the miss. You get 1 set of damage.
Okay. Okay.
It's going to definitely feel that.
All right. And then I'm rolling that damage. Oops. Come on.
You got it.
There we go. It doesn't like to roll unless I clear the previous roll out first.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know if it's just my computer or what.
It
but-
definitely felt that.
Okay.
As a series of kicks follow that strike with that your parasol. And there should be a moment now where everyone else has a chance to react as a free action because the debutante just cold clocked this thing with her umbrella and then spun and jump kicked it twice.
Yeah, I did.
And no one seems apparently fazed by this.
I'm too busy trying to get Agnes out.
Agnes is trying to struggle to get out of your grip.
I'm gonna look around for a minute, like nobody saw that. Okay, and then just like adjust my grip on the kiddo in my arm.
That's fair. You're just holding their stuffed toy.
Yeah,
Was it the knight or the dragon? You grabbed the knight, I
I
believe.
grabbed whoever was closest. So
Yes, Louise
I
has
don't
the
remember.
dragon, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
What is
I have the
Agnes
knight.
doing in this moment as she's being dragged out?
I'm gonna smack Darling with the butt of my cane to get her to like let me go.
Ow.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let her go.
All right. Are you letting me go?
Yeah, I'm letting you go.
Great. So I'm gonna take my cane and separate the handle from the body of the cane, revealing a hidden rapier.
Ooh.
She's like, I'm no fan of animatronics on the best of days, and she's gonna go towards this masked one right here.
The living marionette.
Yeah, that guy.
Okay.
And she's gonna like try and swipe in it.
So start to fence with it
Yeah.
as it spins its massive needle around in front of it. And it looks like it deflects your shot. As it engages you with its own fencing stance. Granted, it's only like
Leave-
2.5 feet tall, but it's like, ha!
All right now. Oh my goodness. Okay. So bonus action, I have 2 weapon. Can I just like try and throw one of my daggers at it? Be like pin it to the ground.
It's going to be, you're in melee with it now, so it's not going to be very easy.
Okay.
You could use your cutting action to immediately disengage, to back up from it.
Yeah, I'm gonna back up.
You've
like,
only used half your move, so you can like get
yeah,
back up
I'm gonna back
behind.
up another like 5 feet because
Okay.
I was not expecting to get into a fencing match with a doll that's like a third of my height.
There's nothing creepier than a doll that fences.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, it gets its action.
Mm-hmm.
And beautiful artwork for it too. It is going to, it's, you know what? It's going to fence its way back at you. And so to that end, yank. Ooh, it's going to connect for looks like 3 damage. So Agnes takes 3, and I'm going to need you to roll me a charisma save.
All right, give me one second.
You got this.
Charisma, you say?
Charisma, I say.
Okay.
Clackety, clackety, clackety.
What does a 12 get
A
me?
12. I'll just make note of the 12. That's all.
Okay,
Uh-oh.
great.
Oh no.
That went well. How's our bodyguard doing? As she looks over and sees this doll like fencing with Agnes, and then like actually make a connect with the tip of its needle, kind of grazes into her arm. You see her blouse rip a little bit.
Oh, we're gonna get mad. I'm gonna wreck it.
I knew you were gonna say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we interpret that as Darlene is raging.
Yeah. I would like to rage. And I'm gonna go over here so that I can make sure that I block off this one
Okay.
a little bit. And I'm gonna attack the one that she was attacking
Fair enough.
with my own rapier. You go, whoosh.
You all traveled with rapiers.
Yep,
Okay.
apparently.
Not me.
As was the style of the time.
15.
That'll hit.
Yeah.
Give me damage.
7. 9.
11.
I can math.
Because you're raging.
Oh, they didn't add that?
It doesn't.
But didn't it add the... Okay, never mind.
That's from
I
your
thought it-
strength.
So it didn't add the... Okay. I thought D&D Beyond automatically added the rage when you marked it on the thingy.
No, it's not quite that smart. It's smart,
Sad.
but not that
Smart,
smart.
just not that smart.
Yeah, you do have to add that in yourself, but because that +2 is from your strength mod,
Okay.
and you definitely are like forcing the doll to retreat. As weird as
Just
that
wait.
is to
Back
say,
it up.
is it's backed up against the bookcases. How's Luis doing?
He's a little off put by the sudden outbreak of toy related violence. You don't no one's prepared for the unicycle doll inquisition. What can I say?
Unicycle doll.
But ever the game chap, he's going to
They are pretty
whip
cool
out
looking.
one of his many theatrical throwing daggers and fling one at the doll that is engaging Agnes and Darling.
Okay, that is incredibly doable. You have a clean shot past them, so
Marvelous.
and it shoots right over its shoulder.
All right. That's fine. I got more.
You got more.
Not this round, but in general.
Not this round, no problem. This one's going. The other one has a chance to engage with Darling. It will do so, and it will not prove effective. As she easily turns around, kind of swats it away, and kind of keeps both of their attentions locked onto her. The stuffed animal, for which we are using the scarecrow stats, is going to. Yes, it is. I am going to need for Miss Amelie to roll me a wisdom save.
Oh.
Oh, wisdom save. I'm pretty good at those ish. It hovered over the 1, and I panicked just a little bit.
It roars at you, and you watch as like this gaping maw appears on the front of the doll's face as it kind of rips the fabric, and you can't tell if it's straw or fangs that leap out at you, and you are not cowed.
Ew, gross.
Which, hey, guess what? It's your action next.
Hey, I'm going to hit it in the face with my parasol.
That's your damage.
Oh, that's my damage. Sorry.
You have to hit it
Where did that come
first.
from? There we go.
Okay. You thwack it soundly.
Give it a sound thwacking. Now let's roll the damage. Ha! I like the other one better, but that's okay.
Well, I already applied the other one, so.
Oh, you're okay. That works.
Is that
that
it?
works.
Just the one?
So doing the flurry of blows cost me key points, right?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
Internet
so I
Techie
used to-
throws a healing potion to.
What?
Uh-oh. Azteki, who are you healing? And that's, by the way, that's mean. Yeah, I already applied the 7 to the scare. Okay.
What?
Rude!
Okay.
The
I
audacity.
bet a Stecky blocked me.
It only gets back 4.
Okay.
It only gets back 4, so that's not as bad as it could be. Yep. It's 2d6 per level of the party. So
Okay.
okay, that's not so bad. Is that it for Miss St. Clair?
That's it. I'm gonna hang on to I only have 2 key points at this point. I'm gonna hang on to the other one in case I need it.
That's fair. That's fair. It might be a bit short rest might be hard to come by in the near future.
Yeah.
Speaking of short rest, how's Agnes doing?
Uh, I'm doing okay. Really mad that a doll got a hit on me.
And what do you intend to do about it?
I'm going to attack it again. I'm going to keep fencing with my doll. Does a 14 hit?
The 14 will hit. Yes.
Woo! It adds sneak attack. I don't know if you're going to let me add sneak attack.
Oh, yes. Someone else is engaging. You get your
Woo.
sneak attack.
10 points of damage.
Woohoo!
Jeez. Okay, that's going to mess it up good.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
useful
what it
even when
gets
I'm
for
not doing
stabbing
stuff.
me.
My dolls. Not yet. Not yet. Smashed and broken. It's going to spin and make one more attempt to stab at Agnes, and you easily divert its spiky needle right down, and it gets stuck in the wood ground, in the wood floor. And then it turns, and like its little hands seem to elongate into metal claws as it scowls at you. To which Darlene does what?
Oh, we're gonna try to finish it off with another.
Are we?
Oh, yeah,
Ooh,
yeah,
ooh.
yeah.
Put on some damage with that.
Oh,
That 18 to hit 7 damage, and the
Nice.
doll smashes open. Bits of porcelain scatter along the floorboards.
Nice.
I must say that is the strangest automaton I have ever seen.
there's nothing inside. Why are you in such denial?
I don't know much about technology. It's not my forte.
There's no technology. They're just dolls.
Meanwhile, Lewis is standing in the background doing what?
Is panicking an option?
Panicking is a free action, as is crying and dropping a gnome.
What? I would like to use my action to panic.
I would like to
No,
use
he's
my
a
action
reaction
to
to curse.
drop a gnome.
He's actually going to advance slightly to get a line on the scarecrow as he draws another of his stage daggers and tries this whole magic trick again.
That'll hit.
Alrighty.
Boop, boop.
Dagger flies across. The scarecrow kind of bobs a bit away from it, and it's like, oh, hey, now there's something else over there, and it's slightly distracted.
I'm helping.
You're helping. Absolutely, you're helping. The unharmed doll is going to put its attentions again on Darlene. It will connect
Oh,
for a whole 4, but it's only 2 because she's raging.
yeah.
But she still needs to give me a charisma save.
Oh. Oh no.
Oops, that went to the wrong person. And
Charisma.
2.
Save.
Charisma save. Yeah, that's totally not a dump stat for a barbarian. Interesting.
Crap.
All right,
Uh-oh.
I'll just make a note of that.
No crap.
That's 2 now.
I'll just make a note of that as like the DM version of I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. It's like that's so much worse though. I'd rather something just happen.
This is
Okay.
a helpful roll that we'll use later.
We'll turn against you later, more
This will
like.
help me later.
Okay, the scarecrow is gonna, or the stuffed doll is gonna leap onto Amelie with these, again, claw-like appendages, it's going to connect for 6.
Oof.
Ooh, that's going to leave a mark.
Yep. I think you meant another mark.
Yeah, that one actually is going to cause some bleeding.
You said 6?
Yep. I've got you at 5 at the
Okay.
moment.
Yep. Okay. That's what I got.
I'm going to also need you to roll me a wisdom save.
Wisdom save again.
Good gravy.
Yeah, that's not quite as good as last time.
Do you want to burn a reroll? You've got a few in the bank.
Yeah, I'll burn a reroll.
Okay.
All right. I feel okay about that at this point.
And the reroll is exactly
Well,
the same.
Dang.
The fates have spoken.
Yeah.
It was meant to be.
The fates have been spoken. Let's see.
8's an important number today again.
Mm-hmm.
It is not my favorite number.
Okay. You are frightened.
I am frightened. Goody.
Disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while the source of fear is within line of sight. And you cannot move closer.
Okay.
So,
Do I have to actively move back, or can I just stay where I am?
you can stay where you are. You just can't move any
Okay.
closer.
I can't move closer. Okay, got it.
Which is now actually Emily's action.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tuck myself around the kid in my arms and just kind of whack blindly with my my parasol. Okay, so that's right click. There we go.
She's like,
Jeez. And you still managed to connect for some kind of appreciable damage. She
Yeah,
will
I do.
not be thwarted. 9 damage. Jeez.
It's that mama
Criminies.
bear instinct over the stuffed
Yeah.
animal.
I feel like the parasol now actually just has a targeting system on it. Once it's connected, it will keep connecting.
It will just keep going.
It fires tracer rounds.
oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
I mean, tell me you wouldn't absolutely just go to bat for your favorite stuffed animal, even if you weren't scared. even
Going
if you were
full
scared.
Hagrid.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
I would go to bat for the last Cheez-It.
On that note, what is Agnes doing in this round?
All right. Agnes sees this doll animatronic. Automaton. Sorry, let's get back into the era. And she's going to move down and attack this one now. Because it keeps attacking Darling, and that's just not acceptable.
Or not.
Oh boy.
You got a nat one.
Okay, so that's a miss. Okay. Anything else you'd like to contribute? There's still a lot of use of the Book of Fate on hand, but we could just move on if you'd prefer.
All right. Is everyone okay if I take a reroll on that one?
I'm okay.
Go
with
for it.
Thank you.
And okay,
Not
well,
much better.
that's fair. It was a good effort.
It's not a nat one. I'll take it.
The rerolls are not coming in clutch so far.
No, they are not.
But they feel good to have, and we appreciate
Yeah.
everyone's support. Just apparently, you just need more of them.
More
You hear that, chat? They need more.
Yeah, chat.
rerolls.
Please help.
Why don't you love us, chat?
Okay, Darlene, what's going on?
Okay. I'm seeing the wild flailing going on over here. And even though she connects up, I'm kind of worried. So I'm here back. Just come over here. And
Ooh, you're moving away from the thing?
oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, let's see here. Basic attack. Okay. fine. You didn't get hit.
And I'm gonna thwack. 14.
Okay, that'll connect.
Oh my god. 6.
And that takes care of that.
Yeah.
Woo!
Doink.
Are you okay, Amelie?
I'm
Don't hit me with that thing.
I'm still on my feet. I'm just kind of like, thank you.
No, huh?
Okay,
I'm just gonna like against the wall for a second.
Do I still have? I was like, oh, I was on the stream. I was like here, and I'm from moving here. Did I use up all my speed? Or
Nope.
This is only okay. I'm gonna move back. Just
Yeah,
I'm in
that's
support.
10 feet and then 10 feet back.
Yep.
I believe that's within your move. Let me double check, make sure I'm not crazy. Yep. Although you do feel like things are moving very slowly when you do that. Like you feel like you should have made further progress with your steps, but that was the end of how far you were able to go.
Oh gosh. Okay.
As that spot where you've been stickered, you can feel something weird there. It's almost like it's going up your arm.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. What does Lewis do?
He is going to shift to get an angle on the last of the creepy dolls. And with his second to last stage dagger, he will attempt to do it again. And this is so much easier on stage, when it's just a lady in a spinning wheel.
Oh.
You just have to keep hitting the exact same point in space on time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
He's
definitely
he's
is
used
easier.
to a different timing.
Different timing. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair.
This one's a little bit smaller too.
Right. I never tried this with midgets.
Okay.
It's a different act.
The doll turns its head without turning its body to look at Darling, who is now going to roll me another charisma save.
Oh Lord, here we go. Believe in the heart of the dice. Oh.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay. That works. That works. Okay. Dang.
Yay.
Nice.
I'm going to say based on that, the doll collapses
Oh.
Woo.
and explodes.
Oh.
Oh,
There was so much feedback from that event, the doll just self-destructs.
Yay.
And you all have a chance to breathe.
Whew.
Not for long, I'm guessing.
gotta
Yeah.
love it when electronics fail.
Don't like it when they look at me right before they explode, but that's fine.
At least they've exploded and they're not a problem anymore.
Yep. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Let's go.
I concur. Let's go.
I'm doing to conclude. You're attempting to hustle your way out.
Yes, I'm gonna
Yeah, we're
lead the
hustling.
way. I'm gonna lead the way swinging. I still got my my rapier
am
out just in case anything. tries to-
Definitely limping.
I'm going to take the time to grab my daggers, and I want to stick close to Amelie and try to help her along, as she's clearly not doing so hot.
I'm just
Okay.
holding the parasol in front of me.
Okay. You start to make your way down the stairs. As you start to head out. And the walls are starting to vibrate and flex inward around you as you go. And you can hear the voices. You will not take the children. They are ours.
Oh.
None of you can escape. Do not take them.
The
Get out,
sound
get out,
system
get
is
out.
too strong for the house.
Get out.
I'm moving.
You round the hallway. Is anyone grabbing anything on their way out, by the way, popping into any of the side rooms?
Nope.
Nope.
No,
We're just going.
We want out.
We're just going.
Okay, I'll move you all onto this. Actually, I'll put you all at the top of the first floor for now. So, I'm gonna
Just skipping the second floor
put
entirely.
Caitlin right there. Unless you intend to go into one of the rooms, none of the rooms are coming out at you.
Awesome. Yeah, first floor it is.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so I'm
You
going to
said
put
like here?
Caitlin at the top of the stairs. Y'all
Oh.
can put yourselves right above the yeah.
Whoa.
Caitlin is waiting for you as you come around the corner at the top of the stairs, and she starts down. I don't know what you're doing, but there's a spirit opening the door for you.
Yeah, go, get out,
We
out,
got
out.
And she turns to like wave you in, and her eyes just bulge
Oh.
Oh.
as this antler comes up out of her chest and flings her
no.
down into the foyer. You have a chance to crowd onto the stairs or along the railing at the top, wherever you wish to be.
How far is how tall is the stairs?
About 15, 20 feet.
That might hurt.
As this combination of an eagle with antlers lands again and perches on that broken statue that was in the middle of the foyer that it has erupted from. And it screeches at you.
Huh.
Oh no.
I'm gonna throw a dagger at it.
I knew there was a reason I wore my deer pin today. I felt like putting it on. I was like, I feel like that antlered eagle is gonna come back to haunt us.
Should have knocked it down when we had a chance.
But it's so pretty.
No. Yeah, I'm throwing a dagger at it. Like, shoot!
Yeah, it's not really feeling that right now. It's going to attack y'all.
Okay, I'm gonna try and position myself at the front, or
Okay,
in front of everybody.
good news. You can all re-roll initiative.
Woohoo!
Woo.
Yay.
Oh,
Put it
yay.
right there. And there's a ghost at the door.
Oh, come on!
I'll put a skull there for that. And I'll use this kind of ghosty thingy. Yoink. There's the ghost at the door. Boink. And how did we all do this time?
Crap.
Okay, so geez. Amelie comes in at 18. Agnes at 20. Louise,
20.
let's see, Darlene at 8. Louise at 5. And the Periton at 13. What does Agnes do first? As you look down the railing and see this thing scowling up at you. Now, I would also add to this. This is not a naturally occurring creature.
Oh yeah.
Just around the same page. You've never seen anything like this before.
Is this the thing that's holding open? Is this opening the door?
The ghost? Yeah.
Okay. So that's the okay.
In the combat mode, I'm actually going to highlight the graphic of it. It's really cool looking. With those antlers and the kind of scully face and the fangs and the claws.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
nifty.
All right. Well, what would Agnes do in this
Shadow
situation?
77 twist the fate so that the next action cannot fail.
Okay, whatever you choose to do, June, in this moment, you have just been handed an automatic success.
Oh.
Whatever
I'm
you
gonna
choose
shoot
to do.
it. She's panicked. She's gonna take out her palm pistol and she's going to hit it. That'll be one of my bullets.
I believe in you.
Okay. You did not crit, but you still hit for 1 damage.
For 1 damage?
That's what it looks like.
What?
What?
Oh.
Oh, wait, no, that's damage you rolled.
Yeah, that's my
You have
That
to-
was my sneak attack damage.
Because you on the, roll a d20. See if you get a critical.
Okay.
You can't fail. Okay, for some reason my brain saw that as a attack roll with damage. I'm like, okay, you didn't crit, but you still did 9 to it.
Yeah.
Good shot.
All right.
And the house howls in reaction to the noise, as does probably anyone standing next to you.
Yeah.
What?
We ain't gonna be hearing anything.
What?
What?
Because firearms are things.
Not a good idea to shoot that inside.
Yeah, it was still a good move. Anything else from our rogue?
That'll be it.
That'll be it. Seems fair. How's the monk doing?
I am not great. Let's see. Can I take the dodge action and just try and get out the door or as close to the door as I can?
Yeah, you can take the dodge action, just kind of make your way down to the, to not get hit.
Yeah, I'm going to try that because I'm not doing so well with the hit points.
Okay. Let's see. The dodge action is going to give you some definite benefits. In particular, the dodge action is going to... any attack roll against you is at disadvantage, and you make dex saves with advantage.
Sweet.
So that works.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
The Paradin, for its action, is going to leap up onto the railing and attempt to run Agnes through with its antlers. It is not okay with what just happened. So it leaps up there. It's only going to connect once for 5. So as it busts its head side to side, it slashes out. And where she's currently at, Agnes is probably going to again feel like, a chunk of her blouse is going to get ripped as they dig into the skin. Mm-hmm. And like actually pop that one of the leather shoulder pieces.
She's real bloody now.
Yeah. What's Darling going to do?
I'm gonna follow suit with Agnes, and I'm gonna shoot it with her gift.
Just turn around and take a shot up the stairs?
I mean, I'm assuming I take a moment to try and aim. I hope I'm not just like, what's up? Like,
Go for it. Agnes' gift.
oh,
Nice.
Nice.
Nice. So close, but still nice.
boom. Are you serious? I'm sad.
Womp, womp, womp.
I'm mad. I'm sad and I'm mad.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
You
upset.
still hit. I'm gonna count that as a
I'm
win.
just going to mention that there are some rerolls in the bank.
That is out of a possible D10. So, does anybody mind if I take a reroll?
You're good on my book. Since you already hit, might as well go for more.
Let's go.
You can't do less damage.
Yeah.
Yes, she can't.
Don't jinx.
Oh no, she can't.
my-
No, she can't. Never mind.
Okay, so you did more damage.
Yeah.
You did damage.
He's damage.
Uh,
Damage is good. Damage is what we want.
how's Luis doing?
Luis has a
Luis.
terrifying monster in his face,
Yes, he does.
and he is going to whisper at it.
All right.
He is.
I'm going to cast Dissonant Whispers, which only it can hear. I need a Wisdom saving throw, DC 13.
Let's see. Components. Wow, that's interesting. Okay. Let's see how it does. Wisdom save 13. No. Roll your damage.
All right. It's going to take 14 damage, and it must immediately use its reaction, if available, to move as far as its speed allows away from me.
Okay. Yoink. It takes its forced retreat.
All right, and that out of the way, I'm going to book it down the stairs. So these are 10-foot squares, right?
Yep.
So 5, 10, so 10, 20, 30 should get me like there-ish.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's see here. What's Agnes doing?
Bleeding. Trying not to fall over as this Paraton rips its antler out of her in its force to get backwards.
By the way, roll me a perception check real quick. Would you be so kind?
Okay.
Okay.
No.
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 Hang on. Let me write that down. Okay.
Secret notes.
Wow. Just taking note of all my terrible rolls today. Okay.
I've never seen a group so terrified of me saying, I'm going to write that down.
On a perception check, yeah.
Okay. So what is
Okay.
Agnes doing?
Let's see. Okay, well, Agnes is going to steady her aim. She's a little pissed right now. She's going to take one more shot with her pistol. Hopefully this one hits.
Yep,
60?
that'll hit.
Yay!
Okay, and that fells that successful hunt. You've killed it.
Oh,
Yay.
Hit it right between the antlers.
oh my gosh. I mean, theoretically, right between the antlers would be like up here. So let's just call it between the eyes.
We're going to let her have this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stabbed me. Okay, wait, I need to take off one more bullet.
Yes, please mark that.
Yeah,
Ammunition is highly limited.
I have been.
Yay.
I apparently
I have
forgot to mark.
18 bullets
I
left.
apparently forgot to mark how many I had brought because I think we didn't finish that conversation of how many I have in reserve.
Keep track of how many you've used. I'll let you know later.
Okay. One.
And didn't we also find some bullets as well?
You did. You found us a handful of them, yes.
Yeah.
And a spare pistol.
That don't work.
That's broken. Okay.
It needs to be cleaned specifically.
Yeah.
It's Doherty.
Hopefully,
Doherty.
whoever lives in the bag of holding is taking care of that for me because that's where it is right now.
Stop, Bagman.
The bag man.
Bagman.
Oh.
He's got a gun now.
He's got a gun.
You see the ghost reach down and grab where the doorknob should be, and a doorknob appears in her hand
What the friggle fraggle?
that she twists and throws the doors open. Go,
Let's
go.
go.
We'll go out.
As she does this, you look up at the door leading into the parlor. It bursts open,
Oh no. Oh no. Run for it.
and this hulking figure that just seems to be draped in cold vapors comes storming out at you.
Oh, bother.
Don't even look. Just run.
None who followed that Silva will escape my house. None that showed her mercy. And it starts to, it's striding towards the door.
I'm running as fast as I can.
You book it out onto the porch, and you actually spot, pulled up in front of the house, is a car.
Oh?
Is there
Oh, I
anybody in the
hope one of
car?
you can drive.
There
Is there any?
nope, there's no one at the car.
Discretion is the better part of getting the hell out of here.
How tall is this porch?
A couple feet down.
I'm jumping over the fucking railing. I'm not even going to go down the stairs. I'm just going to the car, try to get into the driver's seat.
I would too if I wasn't bleeding, so I'm gonna take.
I'm
the
bleeding,
long way.
and so she's taking the stairs.
I'm going to escort the bleeding ladies down the stairs.
Okay, so
Thanks.
history check here, folks.
Great.
Okay.
This is 1921.
Yeah,
Okay.
The electric starter won't be invented for another 20 years.
gotta wind it up.
So who's going to get out and start turning the crank?
Does it have to be somebody strong?
Me.
Someone who's not bleeding.
Me.
Okay.
Like, just fucking-
Who can drive? She
Just
starts
like
it. Who drives?
Cartoon spinning arm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Darling runs around the front, grabs hold of the crank, gives it a hefty push, and it clanks around, but nothing happens on the first crank. You look up. The shrouded knight has charged out of the house and is going to be upon you in seconds.
Oh heck no!
He over his shoulder he pulls a claymore
What?
that he begins to charge at you with.
Oh snap!
Who would like to slow him down?
Me. I've got the most health. I'll do it.
So
Or do I have to
Oh,
keep
wait.
cranking?
Shadow
You're
77
cranking, I got
throws a
it.
healing potion to
Okay.
Amelie.
Oh, heads up. Okay, so setting the scene again. You're out front of the manor house. You're on this rolling hill. There's a car ready to be started. Some kind of spectral entity is coming at you to stop you leaving with the toys. One of you is going to attempt to start the car, I presume, and then everybody else is up to you what you want to do. But
Amelie, sorry, go ahead.
cars and swords don't get on well. Just so you know, if he brings that thing down on the hood of the car, it could split the engine block in two. Last point, Amelie has received a healing potion
Yay!
and regains
Oh, thank you, Shadow. Yay!
3 hit points,
Woo woo.
courtesy of Shadow.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Which kind of balances out the earlier, like, here, I'll heal the bad guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Shadow's my favorite in chat tonight.
Thank you, Shadow.
Okay. So I'm going to everybody roll me initiative. It's going to take 2 consecutive strength checks to get the engine to turn over.
Gotcha.
Consecutive.
Faith and trust and pixie dust. Crap.
Let's see. Okay, so how are we doing?
I'm gonna assume, because obviously this is my first time playing barbarian, because the gunshot wasn't a strength check, that my rage is not continuing.
Let me, before we make that assumption, you have been on an adrenaline high pretty much solid since this all started.
Okay.
So I'm feeling pretty good with the idea that you might still be raging.
Okay.
But let me check the plain text of your rage ends early if you are knocked unconscious or your turn ends and you haven't attacked a hostile creature since your last turn or damaged since then. Combat actions are 6 seconds. I do believe you have lost your rage at this time.
Darn.
You're going to have to kick it in again if you're looking for that advantage.
I don't know.
You spent more than 6 seconds going down the stairs and rounding the corners.
Right. And I don't know what's.
Wait, didn't you jump over the railing?
Yes.
No. From the rage started up in the kid's
Oh.
bedroom, and then you
Yeah.
came down
My bad,
2
my
flights
bad.
of stairs, rounded a corner.
So it would have been
never
more than
mind.
6 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, that would
Okay.
have been enough time to get your heart rate down just a pinch. Now, that said, nothing stopping you from like being really pissed at the fact that the electric starter won't be invented for another 20 years.
Yeah, that's true. But I also don't know what you have in store after we get this car going. So I'm worried.
Oh, well, that's interesting. It actually was invented in 1903.
Oh,
Oh.
Interesting. It's not on this car.
darn.
Yeah. This is not a this. Okay. The formality relied on hand cranks until 1919. During the 20s, electric stars became near universal on most new cars.
So this is an old car. He got himself a classic.
Mhm.
Yeah. Fascinating.
It's also the early 1920s, so
Yeah. So yeah, you're hand cranking the sucker for some dramatic action.
Mhm.
To that end, the first action of the round is going to go to Agnes, who's going to do what? From where is she and what is she doing while she's there? This thing is almost on top of everyone, including Darling.
Before she takes an action, can I? Is it free action to talk? Can I look? I'm gonna look at Agnes and say, "Can you drive?"
I don't know. Can Agnes drive? Because
People in
if
here,
she's rich, I
drivers.
would figure she gets driven everywhere.
No, she cannot.
Yeah.
Dang it.
No.
I got to crank and then I got to hop in and drive. What is this?
Okay, can Amelie drive? Like, how are you figuring that out? How are we
You're a rich
determining that?
debutante. You get driven everywhere.
Yeah, but I'm also like, my family has cars. I could have gone joyriding when I was younger. I don't know. I could have.
Okay. Know
could
how
be
to
rebelling.
drive.
What rich teenager doesn't take her parents' car and
Okay, so driving. Traffic signs,
Driving.
not too cool with. Stopping, gray area. Getting the car up to 60 miles an hour to see what it's like to get the wind in your hair, totally has done that.
okay.
Oh, God.
So
All
I
right.
can operate the car.
If that's how you want to interpret what I've handed you, sure.
We're
Okay.
gonna die in this car. We're
Well,
gonna
because
crash into
otherwise
some
I was gonna toss Agnes, my kid, and get like try and engage the ghost, but because I don't know, I have pretty good decks, and we want Darlene to keep cranking the car, but if she can't drive, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay,
I love
okay,
how
go
no one
ahead,
asks
Agnes.
Luis if he can drive.
Isn't he gonna be keeping?
He
the
has a child. I was trying to keep the kids away from the ghost. And
Okay.
Agnes is the one who doesn't have a child. So I was going to toss my kid to Agnes and then engage the ghost. But I was trying to keep the kids away.
Agnes's plan was to go over to where Darling was and kind of stand at her back and protect her while she cranked and defend the ghost while you two got into the car.
Okay.
Okay, so what is Agnes doing
That was
again?
her play.
You've had a few moments to shout at each other.
Yeah.
As it doesn't even like vault the railing, it goes through the railing
Oh.
and just like comes down at you.
Agnes is going to say, "Get in the bloody car." And she's going to go over here and try and intercept it.
Okay. Reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a car? I have a car. Hang on.
I have a car.
I don't have a car.
Oh.
Nope, I can't do that. I can't in good faith do that. I can't in good faith do that. Because that's just not going to work for me. Okay. You may make an attack roll against it.
Rapier, she's going sword on sword.
Okay.
10.
10. Yeah. No. Like you
no.
lunge a few times at it, and he actually he puts the blade on his shoulder for a second and grabs your rapier with his hand and pushes you backwards.
Probably not that hard, but I'm a little bloody.
Oh boy. Oh, that's quite a picture there.
We'll do that. Yeah, isn't that a great picture though?
Yeah. Come on, let's duel this out.
Ooh,
Don't you have any manners?
I would love it if Agnes would roll me a wisdom save.
No. I most
No.
certainly will.
I think that would be really cool right now.
It's not a nat 1. I'll call that a win.
It
It's still a fail, but it's not a nat 1.
Okay. Let me mark that then until the end of the next turn. Check. He just glares at you, and you suddenly feel cold. And it's the kind of cold that you've only felt a few other times. Most of them involve something that your parents had chided you for, and you felt your life passing before your eyes. Sheer, unadulterated core of your being, immobilizing terror. As all of you glance over, and you see as her face visibly pales as the blood rushes from it.
I'm like still sitting there trying to crack. Are you okay? What happened?
You can squeak.
Lost.
What exactly is Luis doing?
Luis is going to fish in his bag and come up with a large yellowish orb. And he's going to gesture. And the image of the woman who's been helping them is going to appear here-ish. Like on the balcony. Like gesturing towards the angry revenant.
Okay. I'll go ahead. I'll put a token down so I can keep a relative idea of roughly where everybody is. He's currently standing over Agnes. You're attempting to distract him with it, I presume?
Yes, casting silent image.
Okay. Roll me a deception.
I can do that.
See how well he is deceived by your effort. Holy cow, natural 20.
Hey!
All
Yay.
right. Well played. As he, interloper, and he begins to engage the ghostly image in a banter about her trespassing on his house, bringing all of these modern things to destroy it, unwelcome as she is. How's Amelie doing?
I'm gonna. How far away is the car?
Within
When
reach.
can I make it there? And
Oh yeah, totally.
I'm gonna. And is the ghost back to us?
Yeah, the Revenant is looking over at the porch right now.
Okay.
You could actually
So,
run up and clock him on the back of the head if you so desired.
Well, I'm gonna run up and I'm gonna like tug on. I'm gonna like tug on Agnes's arm. Like she's like, can she not move at all? Can I like pull her towards the car, or is she?
She's not magically petrified, but she is definitely so scared she's not moving. However,
Okay.
if you want to use your whole action to try to get her to move, I'll let her re-roll her save.
Follow-up question. What side of the car is the driver's side? Like what kind of, is this a British
It
car?
is a
or-
left-hand drive.
Okay. I'm gonna, yeah, I'll spend my action to try and help Agnes.
June, re-roll Agnes's wisdom. As you try to snap yourself out of your terror. Congratulations, you've been snapped out of your terror.
Woohoo!
You will get an action when it comes up. Meanwhile, how's Darlene doing?
Oh no, we'll find out when we try to crank this car. Okay.
Strength check.
Are you
Got this.
serious? So about that rage.
Are you keeping that?
Reroll it. How many more we got?
This is it for the current status.
I'd rather re-roll it if I raged, but it's just a straight up re-roll. I can't redo my action of rage.
Oh
and
yeah,
then
you can. I'll let you rage when you
Okay,
re-roll it.
I'll rage
All right, rage re-roll.
at advantage. How do I do that? Right click.
Right click.
Roll. Right. Hey.
Crink, crink, and it's starting to turn. One more good over, and it should catch.
Okay. Now the question I should have asked before I did that, because I'm dumb. I can't do anything. I can't attack to hold my rage. So
You'll have to the end of your next turn.
oh, okay. Okay. All right. Okay. All
End of your
right.
next turn, your rage will subside if you don't attack something. Although again, too, I might even go so far as to say, well, you are kind of attacking the crank right now.
Okay. I'll accept that.
I feel with that.
Flex.
I totally just theater slapped Agnes in the face to snap her out of it, by the way.
Oh my
What
goodness.
is Agnes doing in this
Cartoon.
exact moment?
She's gonna look at Amelie and tell her, I told you to get in the bloody car.
You get in the bloody car!
You
Would it,
get in
take
the
an,
car.
would it take an action for me to like shove the kid in her at her so I can get in the driver's?
Nope, that would be a free action to pass it off.
Okay, I'll pass the child to Agnes, and then my next plan is going to be to get in the driver's seat.
All right, Agnes is gonna look at the child in her hand, whatever it is
The
in her
tin soldier.
hands.
The tin soldier.
The tin soldier. She's just like, I don't know why.
Don't
I know,
drop it.
Yeah, she doesn't. She's very confused as why they're still going along with the charade of the talking toys. But she's going to look back at the ghost and then get into the passenger seat.
She doesn't disbelieve that badly.
Mm-hmm. Because
Okay.
it definitely felt something grab my rapier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I felt that. That's real.
Yeah. Its action is completely consumed by the amazing, epic distraction provided by Luis, who has the next action. As it, like, blinks a few times and turns and sees all of you clambering into the car and starts to take steps towards you. What is Luis doing?
I think you're muted.
He's looking for his
Luis.
mute button first.
Oh, we're pressing that button. All right then. So it looks like he's losing interest in the.
Oh, yeah, he's lost interest.
Silent
He's
image.
going to now smash something.
All right, I will drop that then, because it's concentration. So she will blink out of existence. I will come to the railing here-ish,
Okay.
and then I will finally give in and cast Eldritch Blast.
Yay!
Whee!
I've run out of other ideas.
Mhm.
I mean,
At the
Agnes
moment my
probably
back is
didn't
turned
see
to
it.
not see it.
Yeah.
He waits till she's in the car and the door shuts, and
Only
Yeah,
a 12.
don't see it.
Just blessed to hit 12. Okay, now the really bad news, it has no appreciable effect on him with
Okay.
a 12.
Yep.
It kind of like, maybe it hit, maybe it grazed him, but he's not phased, except now he's noticed that you're throwing dark energy.
Well, that was the secondary goal.
Amelie sits behind the driver's seat, is doing anything interesting with her action.
as soon as the car is in a place where it can start, I'm gonna go. Yeah,
Okay.
all my attention is focused on getting the car running.
Okay. Darlene, you still have advantage because you're raging.
Oh, yay!
Wow.
If this motherfucker don't start,
A 20 and a 1.
yeah.
Oh,
Ooh.
ooh, buddy.
So bad.
Ooh.
Whoa!
But the nat 20, oh yeah, that sucker turns right over. And with Amelie in position, she flutters like the throttle a few times, and it hums-ish. I mean, there's this massive like explosion as black soot flies out the back of it. But it's running.
Get in the car!
Let's see. Agnes is in the car.
Mm-hmm.
She would go next. The big thing is going to turn and come after Louise.
Can I throw the Can I throw the car into reverse to try and get closer to Luis? Or is he level with the car already?
Oh, no. You can back up to him. Are you
Okay.
going to try to get back where he is? Or are you going to try to back up to block the Revenant? Are you going to put the car between the Revenant and Luis?
Well, that doesn't seem like a good idea because then he'll just hit the car. No, I just want to get the car closer to Luis to make it easier for him to get in.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. You zip back that direction. He's going to bring the claymore down on Luis, who is going to take 14 damage.
Oh, boy.
Hellish rebuke.
Wow.
Nice.
Hellish Rebuke does what?
2d10 damage if he fails a dex save.
That's kind of cool. He fails it. He takes 2d10. Roll him.
Woo!
Nice.
How much Hellish Rebuke does he take? He
Only
takes 7. All right. That's good. We'll take that. That's his action. Luis is not in great shape, but he can scramble onto the rumble seat.
As long as everybody is more in the car than out of the car, I'm just gonna gun it.
Yeah, I was gonna take the.
If everybody's like
disengage action
solidly attached to the car, then
You've
You don't
got
have to be all
Darlene
the way
standing on the
buckled in.
running board on the driver's side at this point,
Yep. I've got my gun out just in case.
and
she
then you
can
punch
hold on
it.
tight. I punch it.
And on that note, we'll find out how well that goes when we get back from a short break.
Woo!
So we're going to take a 5, refresh our waters, top our potent potables if they should need such topping, and let all of you here that have been engaged in with this roller coaster of combat. This is what happens when you don't do combat for 2 full sessions. You pack it all into the third.
Pack it all in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Make it all happen at once. And we're going to we're going to take a quick stretch here. We'll see you back here in about 5 minutes or so. Until then, enjoy some clips of the channel.
Way.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going. Like, do we think it's going to follow us?
Yeah, can
I'm
we
sure it will.
outrun it? Yeah, I was gonna say, can we outrun it, or is it like something that's just gonna follow us no matter where we go?
I don't think we can outrun it. I mean, it's not going to come any closer for a bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're gonna have to fight
Well,
it.
we
out.
could take shelter in the smoldering ruins, right? Because
I don't know if that's gonna help.
We
it's probably
don't know what's in the smoldering ruins.
Well, it couldn't be any worse than this.
We could
Oh,
come
yes,
across,
it could!
we could come across like another giant creature, and then we're fighting 2 at the same time. And then
But
it's
it
terrible.
could be like Godzilla versus King Kong. So if we run into something even nastier, maybe it won't want to eat us. It'll go after the other thing because they're legends and they have to fight. That's how that works.
No, or they team up against us.
You've had a very fortunate life, haven't you?
Maybe re-roll.
Yeah, re-roll it. Re-roll it. The birds are important.
Everyone's
We
in on
screwed
the
these-
reroll.
I screwed these birds up earlier. We need
Come
a
on.
high roll.
We got this. Let's do this.
Oh no. Oh my.
So every time I'm the bard who
Amazing.
does not want to be I'm really bad at being a bard.
That is amazing.
Worst bard ever.
Yikes.
Yes.
The good news is, after this adventure, you can start taking levels of anything else.
Anything else? What the hell? Okay.
But there's a way to check if you really want to know. I'm intrigued. Cut your hand. Bleed in front of her.
Got it.
I mean, but if she's
Yeah, I didn't think I'd do it. I so did it. Smell it?
But like, she could not necessarily
So
be
pause
a
is right there.
vampire. Well, you're
She's
saying
like,
she is a vampire, so or she's like possessed by one, or like
cutting her hand open.
Or like
in
the
the middle
leader.
of Strahd's domain.
Wait, her
Sounds
hand or
like-
my
not
hand? I
hers,
just cut
not
my hand
hers.
open.
Not hers.
Sounds like a
James.
fantastic idea. Oh.
I didn't have to cut my hand open. We need to cut her hand open.
Oh.
No.
Come here, girl. Come on.
No, you
I'm
mean to
already
say-
bleeding.
James just like waving his bloody hand in
Like, come
Irina's
on.
face.
I'm a genie in the bottle, baby.
Got herself, just stole a ship.
Holy God.
There's a reason they call her the upstart.
Oh my God. Can't even believe that worked.
Gentlemen, I am your new captain.
Yes.
Special and like not forced or anything. It's brilliant. I think the quote I have in particular is actually came from chat, which was the spell slide into DMs, which then became a spell. That's just it's very endearing. So I love it.
I'm going to follow it up by saying that the reaction to receiving a message spell was an absolute, just as far as roleplay goes.
I feel like we should not be meddling anyway. If there's someone killing someone else, it might be for good reason. You don't know.
Oh my.
That got dark. Wow. We have killed lots of people.
For various and sometimes no good reason. Yeah, she's not wrong. Oh, good lord, we're murder
I'm not
hobos.
one to judge, okay?
Am I to conclude the party is going to enter into the house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why am I?
I legit have been screaming this entire time. So you know what? What is the health of
You're
everybody
also
right now?
full health. You want to like come
All right,
back and join
everyone's
the battle?
full health.
Like, no, we're not. The rest
All
of
right.
us are like highly injured. You're on
Yeah,
the
we're
outside
all
full
hurting
health. You wanna,
pretty
like,
bad.
The
help out a
jam
little
board
bit?
says that everybody's. Oh.
Oh, refresh.
Refresh
Never mind.
that. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
Ember's alive because I just healed for 12. Show us that 12 out of 41.
You
were
were
like
literally
farting
seeing
around
full
on the
health
outside of
this
the circle.
entire
Like,
time,
come
weren't you,
join
Yansen?
me. I'm full health. Y'all, I'm
Shadows
having
didn't have a
over here.
spot on the jam on the thing, and I was just like, oh, I don't know.
I think we broke the.
I'm heading that way. I'll tackle.
And we're back. When we left off for our break, our heroes had fled the house, had found a car waiting for them. Without question, they started it, boarded it, and peeled out quickly. As luck would have it, there is a kind of a 2-track that leads out and away from the house that you can follow, which would be probably the best course of action, as the trees are relatively thick, and every so often you drive past like an outcropping that's 6-7 feet tall. So trying to navigate this terrain like free driving, probably going to lead to somebody, to a crash.
Yeah.
Sure. We've had enough of that for one weekend.
This thing don't got airbags.
No.
Just saying. In fact, it doesn't even have seat belts. Just, for the record, those won't become a thing for a while still.
Safety hadn't been invented yet.
Yep.
Nope. You make some pretty good headway. And as Darlene works her way down the running board to get into the back seat, you look and there are 2 ghostly children sitting there in the back seat of the car. Do you think they're going to take us somewhere safe? I don't know where they're going to take us, but it's not in the house. It has to be safe. But what if it's worse than the house? It can't be worse.
You know we can hear you, right?
And they both kind of look at you and are you going to take us somewhere safe? And it's the smaller boyish figure.
Yeah, of course, we're going to take you somewhere safe, though. Do you guys have... Where are we taking them? She just, looks over at, at Agnes, then Amelie, where are we going?
Amelie is just concentrating on driving.
Keeping the wheels on the tracks.
Yep, exactly.
She's not doing this.
I'm guessing power steering hadn't been invented yet either.
No. Well, yes, it probably. Hey, you know what? It probably has been. Power steering. First appeared in 1876.
Oh.
There you go.
However, first commercially available in a passenger car in 1951.
Oh. So that's a no.
Yeah. Calculated would be too expensive to produce. So no power steering. You're like, you're fighting the wheel to keep the car going in a straight line.
That's taken all my attention.
And as you go, the terrain becomes more and more rocky and mountainous. And you can start to smell more and more moisture in the air. It's kind of that low-hanging fog and almost a hint of snow.
Oh, great. That's cold.
And then the trees sort of open up into a bit of a clearing, at the far end of which the road passes through a massive stone wall that goes up between two outcroppings. Ancient in construction, probably Romanesque. This archway with a steel iron gate filling the gap.
Oh boy.
Is the gate open or closed?
The gate's currently closed.
Brakes.
The other pedal. The other pedal.
The other one.
I'll hit the brakes.
Emily hits the brakes, and the car kind of skids a couple of times as it comes to a stop. A fair distance, not enough to cause any
It's like
real
the big Jurassic Park gate.
Yes. And as the car stops, the children look at each other. I think we should get out here.
Why is that?
And they both point, and you see a figure in a high-collared dress with a bustle and a little perched hat, standing at the edge of the tree line. She waves.
Do you know her?
And they nod quickly. It's Mother.
Are you sure?
Okay, I will not turn the car off. But is there a gas gauge? Do I have any idea how
Probably.
much gas we have?
Not sure which one it is, though, because there's a couple of them. Not very well labeled.
Okay, that's fair. I'll look around at the others. Should I stop it?
We're going to have to get through the gates. And I don't...
Are we letting the kids go with the lady?
I have no objections.
I'll turn the car off. And I'll open my door and I'll get out. And I'll start walking towards the lady.
She starts to walk towards you with her hands out, beckoning.
Who are you?
Let me find the right spot on my notes. She introduces herself as Theodora, the lady of the house. Briefly, though, it was.
I'll say.
One?
You'll
Yes.
forgive my bad manners, but do you have any form of identification?
Does the ghost have any form of identification?
She looks puzzled at this.
She
but as
looks like the lady in the picture, right?
Does she look like? Okay.
does. As
Well,
Luis
then.
also climbs out of the rumble seat and can step up next to
Well,
Amelie.
to be fair, Luis is sort of slumped over the rumble seat. He's got the blinking health indicator.
Oh no.
I mean, Amelie's not looking much better, but she's doing okay. I'll reach out and I'll beckon to to the kids.
Once someone opens the door for them,
I got it.
they will come tumbling out, and this dash across the field towards the woman. She'll nod her head as she puts her arms around her children. She'll nod her head at Amelie and Luis. Thank you. Your service is one for which I will be literally, eternally grateful.
Let's see. It was our pleasure. We're thankful for you finding us a way out of the house.
Do Darlene and Agnes get out of the car?
Oh, I figured I never actually fully got in the car. I went to climb in the back, saw the kids, and was still standing there like, I don't want to sit on you. So
Agnes is gonna look at Darling and be like, when did the kids get into the car?
You carried the kids into the car.
I carried a tin soldier into a car.
It was in the tin soldier. Read a book, lady.
They're just bickering in the background.
I read more books than you.
I have a few books you could probably find helpful.
As you're shouting across at each other?
Yes.
Or are you getting out to come have this conversation?
We're just in the car having this conversation.
I hop off the what do you call it? The
running board?
I hop off the running board. I'm like, read a book, and then I just go over to where like walk with the kids to let them go to their mom.
I just want to shout it after her. I read more books than you.
So everyone except Agnes is alone in the car now.
Isn't Luis still in the car?
No, Luis went over
got out?
with yeah.
Okay.
Luis was never in the car to begin with. Luis was on the back of the car.
Oh, okay. Agnes is going to get out then, since everyone else is out.
Okay. And she will bow to each of you in turn, and then without many more words, she will turn her children towards the tree line and start to walk.
Do you know where? Can you tell us where we are?
As she continues to move away from you, it seems like like a fog is moving towards you through the trees.
Oh, I don't like that.
Ooh.
I don't like that look. I don't like that look. Get back to the car.
And after a few more seconds, they pass each other, and the spirit forms vanish into the fog.
Oh, okay.
Never mind. They just went home.
Darlene panics a little bit and turns to get in the car, and you're left going, hey guys, don't forget, hydration is an important part of any activity, including ones that involve a great deal of talking. Take a moment, have a drink, water, whiskey. They're all good.
Vinegar.
That would explain quite a bit.
Salty.
So, as I was saying, you turn back to the car to see that there is literally nothing there.
Sure.
But a road.
Sure.
Had the parking brake been invented yet?
Anyway.
So the car's gone?
Car's gone.
Must have rolled away. Strange, very
Agnes,
quiet.
Agnes,
I haven't decided if she's doing this intentionally or not.
At this point, I'm starting to think it has to be intentional.
Like, literally.
It's got to be intentional.
Agnes just lives to see Darling frustrated with her at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's almost just like a defense mechanism at this point. Like, nope, this is the safe ground. We don't even look at that line over there. Nope.
That didn't happen. What are you talking about?
Nope, the fog just rolled in. It's fine.
It's just stubbornness at this point.
Yep.
Denial.
I'm gonna let the next go stab some sense into her.
You have some time to collect your thoughts, and after a few more moments of acknowledgement that the car has not indeed just rolled away, in fact, a short investigation of where the car should be doesn't reveal anything but footprints. There aren't even tire tracks.
There's no tire tracks, so like we ran the entire way here?
Clearly it was a ghost car.
If you roll me an investigation.
Yeah. I'd like to roll an investigation, see if those are our feet.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's span on the 7.
Okay, what's a 22 get me?
As near as you can tell, there are 4 sets of footprints which identically match all of your shoes, all spaced as though taken at a pretty good run.
Hey, Agnes, do you remember running? here at all?
I don't remember a lot, but I definitely remember a car.
Uh-huh.
These
Go
could
on.
just be our footprints from now. We have been walking around quite a bit.
If I had my rape, I would smack you with my, not even like stab, just with the with the rape.
Careful, I give a good whack back as she holds up her now sheathed rapier in the cane.
Ladies, can we maybe not do this at this exact moment?
Yes, a better time than when we're standing in the middle of a road.
I'm gonna go take a closer look.
In the middle of nowhere.
At that, your conversation is interrupted by this massive, overbearing sound of metal screeching against itself. And you look over at the giant wall, and the gates swing away from you.
There's nobody there opening the gate, is there?
No. They just swing open. And then they kind of like swing back and forth just a little bit, as though the wind is blowing through them.
Like they're beckoning. I'll go take a closer look at the gates and like peep around the other side.
What's that saying? Out of the fire pit and into the fire or something?
Out of the frying pan into the fire.
That one.
Can I see the other, like what's on the other side of the gate?
More of that tree line with the
Just more of the same.
Yeah, more of the same. You can kind of like make out the shape and shadows of like a mountain range somewhere beyond the wall. You think you kind of see the gray lines through the clouds and the fog.
And did you say we were on a road?
Mm-hmm.
Like a
dirt 2-track.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's like mostly grassy and, kind of like, I won't say prairie, but just meadowish, except where these 2 tracks lead in. So a horse-drawn wagon could comfortably run along it. Although it hasn't been traveled in some time, there are no signs of any footprints or hoof prints or tire tracks to speak of. Yeah, just you guys running out of the fog from over there to here, going towards there, and there
that
would be.
Mountain Rage is another house. I swear to God.
Perhaps we'll find a town and we can get some directions out of here, back to an airport, so we can go back to Egypt.
What day is it right now? Like middle of the night?
Let's see. At this point, it is going to start to get dark soon. You can tell.
So we did that in broad daylight.
Yeah.
Oh. Gutsy.
That was a daytime escape.
All right. Well, I say there's nowhere else to go. Hopefully we find somewhere. I don't want to sleep under the trees. Although we probably should have looked for our wreckage to see if we could get anything, but
it blew up.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
It was all on fire.
Yeah, it's all on fire.
You have the clothes on your back, the equipment on your hips, the weapons you carry. What could go wrong?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
We
All right,
don't
let's
even
go
have
before.
a mechanic now.
Let's go. Let's. Oh, I was so distracted by the deer, eagle, bird that I was gonna grab her, but oh well.
Yeah, she had achieved room temperature before she hit the ground.
Okay.
Yikes.
Fun.
Yeah. You start down the road.
Let's start down the road. I'm gonna keep my eye just like off to keep scanning the sides for anything that looks like it might maybe be some kind of shelter that we could sleep under overnight.
Okay. As you make your way along, Emily starts to look around, and the trees start to look eerily familiar.
Oh God!
Oh,
it goes in a fucking circle.
Those no, not that kind. Like New England.
Oh God! All right.
Oh.
I'm gonna pass you a note.
Very
quickly.
Note. What do you have? A note.
No.
That that sound bite has so many applications.
Here I have a note. Let me see it.
Let me see it.
Oh, I love that number.
It's such a great. That's a great part.
I'm just gonna eat my ice cream.
Okay, pass you that note.
Oh.
Agnes.
Yes.
These trees look eerily familiar. It's a forest not unlike one you've been in before, near Athens. That one expedition when you were 8. And you were told not to wander off on your own because you didn't know the lay of the land very well. And then you realized you had no idea how to get back to the camp. And there's a moment where even that smell of that very particular morning is starting to fill your nostrils. That sense of where's mom, where's mother, where's father, where are the rest of the people? And that eerie silence that came with realizing you were completely alone.
Can I grab out and try and grab Darling?
Yeah.
Great.
What? Huh? What? What's wrong? What?
Just had the oddest feeling. Just wanted to make sure you were there.
Did she actually grab my arm, or did I get like she's like blindly doing like this?
No, she
and
can
I
see
got...
she can see your arm to grab it. You're just walking through the forest. The fog is, you can see about 7 or 8 trees back.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I guess is gonna hold onto Darling's arm with like a death grip.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. It's fine. We're fine. It's all right.
You can hear a faint, distant sound of metal screeching on metal, followed by a loud clang as they rock against each other.
I spoke too soon. Oh boy. And she'll like take her arm and hook it and like pull Agnes closer, like
in the far distance in the back, just about to disappear through the fog, you can see the gates behind you have closed.
Great. Fantastic. Amazing.
I've got my parasol just like death grip in one hand and the other hand is just in a fist. And I'm just like looking around, like in case there's somebody coming.
No, we got those ladies' children out. She could have at least told us where we were.
Would have gave us directions out of here. She seemed to know where she was going.
Into the fog.
I don't know that we want to go where she was going.
No.
No. With that fashion sense, most certainly not.
She was a nice lady, okay? But
she
was still a muumuu. You don't follow the muumuu. Muumuu follows you.
Agnes doesn't know what a
muumuu is. Spooky forest, muumuu follows you.
But she just kind of goes along with it. And I'm wondering why you keep making the sound of the cow.
Yeah, Luis has commented about the odd cow obsession more than once.
Wait, did you?
Yes, in multiple sessions. It seems like, what does cows have to do with anything?
Oh, what do cows have to do with this?
Everything. Don't you know?
I guess that just went over Darling's head. She was like, who said anything about cows? Like, what?
This might not be a terrible time now that everyone's had a chance to kind of realize that she keeps referencing this thing. Definitely Darling would have picked up that nobody knows what you mean by muumuus.
Agnes is just being too polite to ask.
That kind of like narrows it down. Everyone's too polite to say, why do you keep bringing up cows?
All right. I see the looks y'all are giving me. It's not MOO. It's It's not M-O-O-M-O-O. It's M-U-M-U. Moo moo. She says in like the whitest accent she could possibly conjure. A mew moo.
What is a moo?
It's the Filipino like name for like a ghost or the boogeyman.
Okay, that makes more sense. You should have led with that.
Americans. They
Literally.
don't get many things.
They don't. They don't understand the cross of culture.
Agnes thoroughly keeping herself out of this, pretending she knew exactly what you were talking about the whole time.
I was gonna say, I feel like Agnes should have known because they've spent enough time together.
How much time have you spent around moo-moos? Like, is this a topic that comes up regularly?
I mean, it's probably something she would have referenced before if there was any sort of possibility of there being some sort of haunting around some sort of artifact, or like that's just what we call like ghosts. But essentially the basis of it is the boogeyman, but ghost. So
that checks out.
Yeah.
Well, having explained that, I'm gonna look at. So how would medicine checks work? Like, could that be like I pull a Band-Aid out of my pocket, or like, because Luis is looking pretty rough.
You guys just really need to take a rest.
Okay.
It's the big thing that y'all really need more than anything. Medicine check is like to survive, like to stabilize. Okay. But if you want to like get some hit points back, you should probably like plan to put your feet down for a few and just collect your thoughts.
I don't know how I feel about doing that in the middle of fog.
I mean, where else are we gonna go?
Luis is not going to have a whole lot more options as he's at this point just sort of weaving and staggering.
I'm just gonna walk to the side of the road and just like sit on a rock or a log and just like do one of these. Like, I just need a second to get my bearings.
Okay.
Luis is not far behind.
You are free to take a short rest and recharge anything that recharges on a short rest.
Unless you want me to carry you.
And you can roll up to 2 of your hit dice. I also am not a big fan of the only get half your hit dice back on a long rest. That just drives me nuts.
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
We're about that later.
Okay.
So on D&D Beyond, there's 2 options for a short rest. Reset maximum HP changes during this rest, or automatically apply healing with dice result.
The dice result.
Second one? Okay.
And then you select how many dice you want to use.
How many dice do you want to pop?
Okay.
Which you only have 2 to pop.
Right.
But it's almost evening, so.
I mean, I only have
if for some reason you think evening means things are going to stop.
No.
You're right.
This is Barovia.
I did too
Is
late.
this Barovia now? Yay.
The evening is kind of like when the party starts.
Okay, never mind. I'm not. I will keep my missing 2 hit points up.
Okay, I did it and it didn't change. My hit points didn't change.
Oh,
you have to do it yourself.
You have to manually do it, unfortunately.
Oh, I have to. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Yes, I know. Roll 20 does it all automatically. I can already hear what's coming. Speaking of
I actually just don't know how to roll hit dice.
Neither do I. I just roll them.
That also works too.
I have 1d8.
Oh, did you want to roll a second one?
Okay.
By the way?
I'm just rolling the 1.
Okay. So I have Agnes at 8.
I don't think I've ever taken a short rest on D&D Beyond.
7 and 4. Okay. Nice roll, by the way. 7 and 4. Okay. I got y'all back up. So I have 8, 8, 12, and 15. Seems about right.
So that should be 9 because it's 2d8 plus 2.
Ooh, good call.
So that takes me to a whopping 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That works. And so I think I've got all that updated. And Chickadee, welcome. Glad to have you hanging out here. Absolutely, we're in a short rest. Now's a great time to say hello and shout out to Arwen.
Hi, Chickadee.
I haven't killed her yet.
Not for lack of trying.
Yet.
You have some time to kind of collect your thoughts. As you pick yourselves up, give me a perception check for Amelie, if you'd be so kind.
A perception check?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
You hear someone calling to you.
Oh, no.
Amy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
I'm going to grip back on my parasol and just start looking around. Did anybody else hear that?
Hear what?
I hear wind.
Like, which direction was it coming from?
It's kind of like the road goes, for the sake of argument, the road goes due north, kind of northeast. Into the brush. In fact, it sounds very familiar.
I'm gonna stand up and I'm just gonna like walk, like stay on the road and just like look and see if I can. I'm not going off the road. I'm just gonna see if I can see anything.
But you've got to see this. Come here, Amy. You've got to see this. Come here. They won't care that you're out. Come here.
What?
Now you all can hear the voice.
Oh.
I am gonna cross. I'm gonna like cross my parasol in like in a defensive position, and I'm gonna back towards the group. And I'm gonna say a very unladylike word. Well, not very, decently unladylike word. Somewhat unladylike, and this is like a mild. This is a mild garden variety swear word, and just kind of like point my parasol as I back towards my group.
No, come here. You have to see this. Yeah. The headmaster won't know. Come here.
And I'm gonna just like my voice is just like dripping with anger and repressed, just anger and hurt and screw you, fool me once.
I'm gonna run over and like kind of wherever she is pointing her parasol, I'm gonna like step in front of her. I have my rapier out. I'm like, we're not hallucinating, right? Everybody hears this? Everybody hears it?
Oh, I hear her just fine. She knows it.
Yes, I do hear it.
I don't think that precludes hallucination, given what we've
Shut
been
up,
through.
Sally.
But
At least
we're
it's
all
a
in
group
this
hallucination.
together.
Oh, good. It has a name.
Well, I vote that anything that's trying to draw you off the path is not a good thing. So
I vote that we start moving.
Mm-hmm.
I feel just marginally better if we found like a nice closed room and bed to sleep in rather than sleeping on the side of the road.
I need Darling to roll me a perception check, please.
Oh, crap. Boink. Are you serious? I don't like today. I don't like it.
Okay.
I'm blind.
That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. You guys can start to make your way along. Luis is going to be the one that will notice it first. And that is that weird, sickly smell in the air.
Oh, God.
Something like rotting meat.
Ew.
As we're walking, I'm like starting to like shake it off. And I'm just going to say under my breath, she's just mad her mom never wanted her home for holidays either.
Wow. That's some Gossip Girl shit. Like,
wow.
Anybody else smell that?
It smells like salt.
Smells like tea to me.
Not what I meant.
All right, if you didn't know that was one of our clips, that's going in there.
Oh, dearie me.
At this point now, you all kind of, as you kind of take in the blend of comments from the two, You do pause and go, oh god, yeah, it does smell kind of rancid in the air.
Smells like a poorly preserved mummy.
Of course, that's what you equate it to. Of course, that's what you equate it to.
It's what I have the most experience with. Excuse you.
Not okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
It smells
No
a
food goes
lot
bad.
more like a badly maintained cadaver lab.
Oh.
That's a fun smell.
All right, what's dead?
Hopefully not us. Keep walking. Just keep going.
Yes, I'm not keen on finding out.
As you make your way along, you can see off to the side of the road, just a little bit up on the rise, there's some kind of a shape up against one of the trees.
Oh no.
You can see where like the brush around it has been trampled down. Branches are broken, and you can look, just glancing over the top of his head, you can see where the bark has been stripped away from the tree itself. As though some kind of like massive claw had come across it.
That's not a good sign.
Great.
Nope. Keep moving. I'm not keen on meeting the local wildlife.
We should check this out.
No. We should keep moving.
I'm gonna go check it out.
It was nice knowing you. Goodbye.
AKA how the guy dies.
Nice knowing you. Goodbye.
Luis begins to approach the body. And as he gets closer, Luis will see the man's eyes flare open and just burn red. And you hear a voice. You're beyond my assistance, my son.
Oh.
Your gifts will serve you. You will serve me greater when you escape. But you are on your own.
Keyword there is escape.
And then the eyes go black again.
Oh, good. Did anyone else notice? Okay,
no,
good.
they
didn't
did
follow me.
not.
No, we're moving.
Okay.
We're moving.
No, we're moving.
You signed your own death warrant. We are moving.
Yeah, that's a you thing, not a we thing.
Probably a good thing Darling didn't hear it, because you'd be a moo-moo. She'd just be done.
Yeah, no, definitely that was all in Luis's head.
Okay.
We'll see how well your patron can connect with you now that you are within the mist. So, but hey, still feels dark energy there. Should be fine.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
As you look over the body,
Dark energy is dark energy, right?
he's dressed in, I won't say like old clothes as much as dated. It's very peasant 1905.
Okay.
They are coated in mud and blood, and you can see exposed bones on some of his limbs.
Mm-hmm.
Are you searching his body or just taking a better look at him?
Yeah, I want to see if there's anything to be seen or gathered here.
Okay. He has a leather satchel that has a very official looking, the clasp. It has this copper, like catch on top of it that shows a signet with a very well done letter B.
Okay.
You can pop that open. Inside there are some papers that have been folded up neatly. One of which is a sealed letter.
All right. I'm going to grab everything in the satchel.
Okay.
And how hard would it be to disengage the satchel from the dead body?
It's a dead body.
He's not putting up much of a
He's not putting much of a fight.
I don't know if it's like, trapped under his
you
arms.
You can unbuckle it, and slide it around, and then rebuckle it if you want to.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll go with that method.
Okay. Do you want to read the letter?
Not while I am in the forest away from the party. I'm going to, hustle up to catch up to the people who have abandoned me. Then we'll read the letter.
Okay.
And I will keep this in mind next time everyone is in trouble.
Luis kind of comes jogging up
Wait,
beside.
did he run off? Because I figured we just kind of like, did we not hear anything? Because I thought we were all just kind of stopped while he ran off.
A couple people made it very clear they kept walking.
Oh, I didn't mean to keep walking. I probably would have just stopped and I'm watching, looking for him and looking at Agnes like, what are you doing? We gotta go. She's walking.
We're walking.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
not dealing with a dead body.
I was
Darling
saying
ain't
like a
waiting.
chickadee. I would have stopped. I would
Darling
have
ain't
stopped, but
waiting
not
for more
followed.
moo-moos. We're not waiting for more moo-moos.
And the body's not wrapped, so it's like not interesting.
I mean, I'm still a little bit salty about the witch's walk, but
You'll be able to definitely catch up with Amelie without too much trouble, and then together the two of you can catch up with Agnes and Darlene. When you're ready to read the letter, I've passed you the letter. You can read it and do whatever you want with it. And I can also copy paste that into the general Zoom chat for everybody if they want to read it, if you ever get that point.
So he trots up with a satchel in hand. So it would appear the gentleman who departed was some sort of messenger. And we have an official letter to check out. So if you can stop for a second, because reading and walking is difficult in a spooky wood, I'll try to find out where we are and what's going on.
I'll
At which point,
walking.
Stage whisper, "Stop! We might have a clue where we are."
All right,
that was
Velma.
sort of the reason
Clue?
I went to get
I knew that would get her
boy.
attention.
All right, Daphne.
Thanks, Blue.
Oh, jinkies. All right, so yeah, I will read the letter and then I will pass it around to the group.
Okay.
As each of you takes a chance to read the letter, it goes as thus. Hail to thee of might and valor. I, the burgomaster of Barovia, send honor with despair. My adopted daughter, the fair Irina Kolyana, has been these past nights bitten by a vampire. For over 400 years, this creature has drained the lifeblood of my people. And now, my dear Irina languishes and dies from an unholy wound caused by this vile beast. He has become too powerful to conquer. So I say to you, give us up for dead and encircle this land with the symbols of good. Let holy men call upon their power that the devil may be contained within the walls of weeping Barovia. Leave our sorrows to our graves and save the world from this evil fate of ours. There is much wealth entrapped in this community. Return for your reward when we are all departed for a better life. Kolyan Idradovich, Burgomaster.
What a superstitious person talking about vampires.
You're still going to keep this up after all we just went through?
You seriously are asking me to believe in vampires?
I'm
gonna
seriously
take the
asking
letter.
you to keep an open mind.
I'm going to take the letter and just kind of say, I really don't think she's capable of that.
I mean, hope springs eternal.
Has anybody ever heard of Barovia before?
That's a new one to me.
European?
Everyone is welcome to roll me a history check,
Yep.
but it ain't easy.
History check.
13.
17.
21.
Jeez. Really?
3?
Really?
What do you get? I can't see it.
I still haven't seen one from our warlock yet.
Well, history is not really his thing.
I had a +0. You had
As
no
mentioned.
excuse.
If you would roll the
I have
natural,
a +7. I have a +7.
I have a +2.
and with that +7, you still roll a 13.
I know.
I have a 0 and I
I'm
rolled
doing
a 17.
horribly on my history checks.
Out of all the rolls that I could have rolled decently on tonight, this was the one.
Mm-hmm. And even then, you still don't know much. However, Amelie definitely did have an instructor at the school who was obsessed with Eastern European geography. And you remember marking up a map over and over, like worksheets upon just constantly drawing and writing Eastern European maps. Barovia is a very small principality ? as it has no trade relations outside of itself. It's one of those. There was no one from the Great War involved from that area. No one went there. No one came from there. There is no record of any funds or troops moving in and out of it or supplies to it. It's actually one of the mysteries of the 1910s is how this little chunk of Czechoslovakia never actually contributed anything.
I'll share that information. If only I could see the look on Professor Anders' face if he knew where I was and what I was holding.
You are full of surprises. I wouldn't have expected you to know something.
That helps when a professor is handsome. Things stick in your mind. I'm sorry, I remember a lot more from my cute college professors than I do from almost anybody else.
I remembered more from those that actually cared about what they were teaching.
Well, to each their own. It's like that one random class, like fact you learned in class, and you're like, hang on. I never thought I'd use that.
Well, on the downside, we have been instructed to stay away from Barovia.
I'm pretty sure we're in Barovia.
On the upside, we now know there's in theory a town within walking distance because the departed gentleman who I found this in was clearly trying to walk out of Barovia, but didn't make it. The didn't make it part's troubling.
What are the chances that this town is all dead?
60-40.
Free housing then. Free lodging.
I'm hoping they have an inn and they're not all dead. But I'll settle for an inn.
If the town is empty, I don't even know what we're going to do. Because I can't sleep there.
Free room
Well,
and
you can
board.
stand watch.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so that I can face the moo by myself? No thanks.
I mean, if you're not sleeping anyway.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, that body that I didn't look at, it was still like in one piece, right?
Ish.
Somewhat.
Now when you say ish, was it missing its insides? Were the insides outside or just nowhere to be found?
I didn't check.
So on top
Also,
of the
bodies we deal with don't have any organs in them. Why is this freaking you out?
So on top of the moo, now we're in a place where there's many asswangs. She's like
an ass what?
An asswang. They're kind of like vampires, except they don't drink blood. They just eat your insides.
A cannibal?
Yeah,
It
but they don't eat
more
the
like
outside,
a
just the inside.
wild animal attack. You might be jumping to conclusions there.
Yeah, there's plenty of wild animal scavengers that will just eat the insides.
Oh yeah, because after what we've gone through in the past 24 to 48 hours, I believe that it's just an animal and not...
We're in the middle of the woods on a road. In Eastern Europe, there's going to be bears and wild animals everywhere.
Yeah, and talking ghosts that call out to Amelie.
Yeah, okay, that one was maybe a little less natural. But in any case...
If Sally Van Ryn is a ghost now, then... Can't think of a better place she should be.
Then Barovia?
No, then
I think she
a
meant
ghost.
dead, dear.
Oh, I was... All right. So, let's go to Barovia and hope that they have an inn and they're not all dead.
And perhaps a telephone if we're lucky.
That would be...
Given your
Grand
description,
convenience.
that seems like maybe a little optimistic.
Well,
We got a car. I'm sure telephone isn't far off.
Did we get a car? We had a car. Did we?
Not really.
Did you have a car?
I definitely feel like there was a car, but then there wasn't a car.
That's definitely a car. You guys...
Were we even in a house?
Are at this point, 60-40 that we all died in a plane crash.
Jesus.
Yeah. Group hallucination.
Okay.
This is just the way to the afterlife.
They say your whole life flashes before your eyes. They didn't mention you have a wild Scooby-Doo adventure with people you've just met.
Wild Scooby-Doo adventure.
Well, we make up the perfect party for it.
All right, shall we press on to fair Barovia?
Well, we can try.
All ahead full and damn the werewolves.
Hope springs eternal.
The
as
sky
he said.
becomes more and more overcast as you start to approach, as you start to come down the tree line out of the trees into rolling hills of what once may have been fertile farmland. Shapes that resemble long abandoned and long collapsed barns and houses. Yeah, that'll work. Line the hills. It has been decades since they have been touched, as near as you can tell. You can see in the distance the buildings of a tight hamlet. Townhouses pressed tightly against each other to create narrow roads and tight living conditions. Unlike the houses that you've passed thus far, they do show that they are in enough repair to keep out the elements, as opposed to that remnant of a barn that's mostly just a couple of 4x4s in a roughly rectangular pattern. Oop, settle down, internets. Even the internet is spooked.
The internet's like, nope.
The internet draws a line
scary.
at like broken barns.
Yeah, apparently. Even my internet
It's
seems to
fine
be
with
scared.
the bodies, but the barns, oof.
As you start to work your way towards it, you're going to be coming across, and you can see off to your left, which is now, it's near as you can tell left. North-south is starting to fade because of just that oppressive darkness that's starting to come in, collapse on you. You guess time of day, but the cloud cover is far too thick to give you any hint. It's just getting darker. But you can see off to your left a river at the base of the hills running along. As you approach the village itself, tall shames loom out of the dense fog that surrounds everything. The muddy ground underfoot gives way to slick, wet cobblestones. Tall shapes become recognizable as village dwellings. The windows of each house stare out from pools of blackness. No sound cuts the silence except for mournful sobbing that echoes through the streets from a distance.
Ooh.
What a pleasant sound.
Now, for reference, if you take a quick peek at the map board, you are coming in from over where the little laser pointer is.
Okay.
Oh,
so
okay.
This is you coming
Thank you.
into town.
Got it.
In good old fair Barovia. And you can see the rows of the townhouses and little passageways between them as you make your way along.
Does this place seem like there may be any sort of life?
Well, you can hear that wailing punctuated with more sobbing wafting down from somewhere ahead of you.
That's not life.
Can I look up and see if there's like any electrical lines?
There are no electrical lines.
Well, that's not a good sign.
That's not life. That's eternal depression.
No, there's no electricity.
You know,
So?
I'm going to take you back to the Philippines one day. And I'm just going to leave you in one of our haunted houses and see how you handle that.
Okay.
Don't die, though, because then I'll be in trouble.
So I'm going to be looking for like street signs or this way to the inn or signs of like shops or places that would be habited.
Okay. You can as you make your way down, it looks like in the center of town there is kind of like a town center that there may be an inn off of.
I'm going to recommend we head that way.
Yep. Okay. You can make your way down towards it. In the town center, you can see, in particular, the buildings with the orange roofs are going to stick out the most in the moment. By the way, chat is of the belief that you did not actually have a car. Just gonna add that.
Chat would be right.
Wouldn't know.
Yeah.
No, chat would be right.
Wouldn't know. Chat wasn't there. We had the car. We were in the car.
I felt that lack of suspension. I've got the bruises.
Yeah, I definitely felt the wind.
I've got the sore butt to prove it.
Next, they're going to say I didn't almost get cut in half by a revenant.
Yeah. I have the sore muscles from trying to not fly through the windshield without a seatbelt.
As you step into the middle of the town square,
That's here, right?
I think so. Yeah. If you turn to the northeast, a single shaft of light thrusts illumination into the main square, its brightness looking like a solid pillar in the heavy fog. Above the gaping doorway, a sign hangs precariously askew, proclaiming this to be the Blood on the Vine Tavern.
That's not ominous.
I'll take it.
No.
Probably reference to wine or something.
When you look down to the southeast, the other building, given the hour, sparse light from this building spills out from behind heavy drawn curtains. A sign over the door, creaking on its hinges, reads, Bildreth's Mercantile.
Mercantile?
Ah, excellent. They have a merchant and they have a tavern. This might not be quite as bad as we thought it would.
Depends on what they sell. And without any electricity, I doubt we're going to get anything very useful.
Any port in a storm. I'm going to head towards the tavern.
I'll follow.
Same.
I'm following up in the back just to be sure.
So to this point, Luis has stayed sort of in the background. He's been fairly quiet because there wasn't really a stage. As he walks through the door, his posture subtly changes, like he stands up a little straighter. There's a big smile appears on his face. He seems to become slightly more animated. And he sort of strides through the door with that like leading man swagger and looks around for like an innkeeper or someone to introduce himself to.
Okay. As you come in, you can the common room of the inn is occupied by 3, 4, 5 individuals. I'm going to give a quick hug because someone's going to bed. I love you. Have a good night's sleep. Okay.
Good night.
She says good night.
Good
There's the phantom hand.
Good night.
Everybody says good night. She's really stressed out that I took down the green screens that we had for our green screen Beat Saber space.
Oh.
I need to get the Christmas tree pad away, and they were in the way, so I can rehang them. Anywho, which, by the way, Monday night, 7 p.m., Kaylee and I are planning to stream. I don't know if we're doing Beat Saber or if we're going to start Lego Star Wars.
Ooh.
I kind of want to play that with her because I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I love that game.
Oculus?
No. Just sit together and couch co-op.
Okay, I was going to say, like, when did they make, like,
No.
virtual reality Lego?
Did a new one come out recently?
Yep. They just put out the Star Walker Saga just came out. I'm like, maybe that would be kind of fun.
I saw some funny cheats.
So, speaking of which,
on that one,
you look around the tavern. There are 3 people are seated together, all dressed in relatively bright bohemian clothes. So bright colors, flowing shirts, One of them is wearing a vest without a shirt, which makes you kind of wonder how he's not freezing. Could be the rippling biceps. Hard to say.
All that testosterone.
Yeah, sure. Selfie and a very thick black mustache. There's another man slumped over the bar who just he looks completely desolate. He is into his drinks. There's actually 2 bottles next to him. And then the gentleman behind the bar who's quietly cleaning a glass and periodically reaching over to refill the one of the man that was mostly passed out, who periodically puts a hand out, pulls the glass under his face, downs it, slides it back out again.
Is an impressive degree of alcoholism.
Yeah. Agnes is going to stand up a little straighter and put her cane on the ground and her hands over each other on the cane. Kind of turning her nose up a little bit at the sheer amount of alcoholism going on in this room.
Ignoring that
bit.
unfortunate negative impression, Luis is going to stride to the bar, big smile. Greetings, barkeep. We find ourselves newly in your town with no transportation and no clear understanding of where we are. Do you have a meal and rooms?
What is this and what have they done to Luis?
Amelie is mildly impressed.
I don't know.
You've only seen No One's Watching, Luis. This is on stage, Luis.
That's fair.
Yeah.
He nods. We can provide a meal and lodging. Do you require them?
We do.
Do you have coin?
Excellent question. What currency do you accept?
Coin.
Just coin in general.
I turns around. I don't suppose anyone brought Barovian coinage? No? Not.
Darling's just going to give him that look of, we just found out what Barovia was like 2 seconds ago. Like, you expect us to have coin.
I was gonna say,
We could get lucky.
Photos of Barovian coinage.
No, you haven't actually.
Oh, okay.
I'm done.
There's not that much information about Barovia.
Okay.
He turns
I've
back
seen
around.
drawings of what their coinage might have looked like, according to the opinions of scholars.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they're still not even sure it's a principality.
Okay.
Look, I have money for England. Amsterdam is where we came out of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a few Egyptian coin. Okay, I don't... No.
So the short answer is no, but the longer answer is we would be happy to work for our passage. I myself am an accomplished magician and would be happy to entertain your lovely staff here with a night of tricks and minor prestidigitation. If that does not suit or serve, if there are any minor tasks you need done, we have women of multiple talents who I am certain would be able to assist in paying off our debts. As I mentioned, we are new to this area after a series of misfortunes that have found us with neither baggage nor understanding of the location.
The man who's been drinking, because there's no greater misfortune than to find yourselves in Barovia. I'd get back on the road while you can and go back whence you came if still possible.
The gates sort of closed on us.
So it did.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a common occurrence?
He shakes his head and he slams another drink.
Understood.
Glass back over.
I turn my attention back to the barkeep.
We have rooms if you have coin.
Okay, I see that we're on sort of a standstill here.
The man who's been drinking goes, Eric, put it on my father's tab. I will see these travelers have some hospitality before they find themselves truly a permanent Barovian.
Well, thank you, sir.
That's not in the plan.
I cannot speak highly enough of your generosity and nobleness of spirits. My name is Louis Halberg. May I ask who it is who is providing us with such largesse?
Ismark. A pleasure
Okay.
to meet you all.
A pleasure to meet you as
You hear
well.
one of the people in the bohemian dress kind of chuckle under their breath. Ismark the Lesser.
Oh.
And they kind of go back to their whispering.
Yeah, literally. Amelie might be impressed, but like I guess Agnes is judging him, and like Darley's just standing back there like with her arms crossed, like what a phony. Like,
dude,
He's gonna
just
think
bought us dinner in
Ismark the drunk.
rooms.
Ismark the drunkard, more like it.
Y'all gotta check yourselves.
Your generosity is greatly appreciated.
Well, to be fair, I might have to ask a favor.
Of course.
What sort of favor?
Well, particularly one involving moving a body.
Well, actually, unfortunately, I have experience with that.
I've been a pallbearer a time or two.
You see, no one will help us move my father out for burial.
Oh, well, that's certainly a simple enough task.
I'm used to taking them out of the ground, not
And
putting them
our
back in.
condolences.
Thank you. It's my sister that he was trying to protect. His heart just couldn't do it. And no one from town will help us move his body from the house up to the church.
By chance,
Why is that?
What is your sister's name?
Irina.
Oh.
Yeah.
Penny drops.
At this, one of the three that are at the other table will get up and walk out. They're not really being subtle about it, but they're not like flouncing. They're just kind of getting up and
just
slipping out.
Well, we're certainly sorry for your loss.
That would make your father the burgomaster?
He was. Have a drink, please, with me. Eric and I am drinking to his life and his efforts and his glories. Glories, always to the glories.
To his glories, Louis eagerly shouts as he sits down next to the drunken gentleman who has bought them a room.
And Eric will slide over and put a clean glass in front of you and go, shh. And then go back to wiping out glasses.
Agnes is going to sit on his other side.
I'll do a little dust the chair off before I sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Just out of habit more than anything else at this point.
Agnes will sit on his other side and say, I know what it's like to lose a father. I understand your pain.
And he has another drink. In fact, if you'd consider, rather than lodging here, we could lodge you at the mansion.
Mansion, you say? Well,
Yes.
that would be wonderful.
It would be good to have more bodies, people in the house. Should anything happen tonight?
You mean living bodies, to be clear?
Yes. It's been very challenging for my father and me to keep things from getting into the house.
You have a frequent things trying to get into your house problem?
He glances at the people dressed at the other table, and he turns back. This isn't the best place to speak of it.
Can I make an insight check? Does this guy appear to be human, like alive?
Roll it.
Is there anything weird about him?
Can I make an insight check on the people at the table, if they're listening in or not?
No insight check needed. They are totally listening in.
Okay.
They are quite clearly taking notes. in like mental. They're not like writing anything, but you can see almost every time one of you speaks, they turn to each other, whisper a few things, and are not in any way, shape, or form successfully hiding their efforts.
Agnes is going to stare at them.
Did you say his name? Ismark?
Ismark.
Is that? I would like to just give him like a really good once over.
Now you should roll insight on this one.
Okay.
Yeah, the people that are dressed at the other
That's
table.
not great.
Yeah, they're not.
I'm tired.
You're tired. He's tired. He's kind of drunk. You're not. It's kind of where you all are at.
Okay.
Darling didn't sit down. She's just standing behind everybody with her arms crossed, like watching over, I guess, that other group.
Doing the angry bodyguard check.
Yeah.
Agnes is staring at the other group now, rather judging them for their eavesdropping, and as she's like trying to kind of eavesdrop on what they're whispering to each other as we talk.
Counter eavesdropping.
Yeah. And she's not being subtle about it either, but she
Counter
is being
rude, they're
very
rude.
intense in her staring.
Okay.
Amelie's clocked there staring, but it's rude to stare, so I don't stare back. Just because they're being rude doesn't mean I have to stoop to their level.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Agnes is trying to make them feel ashamed for staring.
So, Ismark, should we return to your home, take care of the necessary arrangements, and maybe discuss further your current misfortunes?
Yes. But first, I need you to swear to me, you will help keep my sister safe.
On my honor.
He picks himself up and then like flops off to the side for a bit and catches himself on the bar. No, each of you. We'll put you up, but please, you must swear you will help protect the house and my sister.
Do the swearing thing. This is our best chance we got here.
We'll do what we can.
He looks at Darlene.
Darling's still staring at that other table. Like
She's not.
So he's staring at Darlene.
dear.
Darlene's staring at the other table, and he's waiting for her to swear to protect everybody. There's a long.
Darling, dear.
pregnant
Agnes is
pause.
going to tap Darling.
huh?
He's asked you a question.
Sorry. Like it's just as like obviously obnoxious as they were being about like listening in and watching. She's like I'm not even gonna play pretend. Like I've been just focused on you. Like so now that she's finally like being asked something, she's like, huh? What?
Fair enough. But yeah, he'll repeat. Please. I won't turn away the help. I'm really not qualified to turn away any help. But I need to know that you will help keep her safe. Keep the house safe.
Yeah. Like I'm like, yeah, totally. And she's like, she gives him a thumbs up and like looks back at the table. Are they looking in our direction, or are they trying to play it off like they're just?
They were.
Is this a staring contest at this point?
At this point, they're not interested in staring you down as much as they just don't care. So they're watching, and they're watching you stare, and they're like completely unfazed by it.
They know that we know,
them, like...
and we know that they know, and they know that we know that they know.
That we know that they know.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
We all know. It's fine.
that kind of covers it.
All right. With that, Luis is going to stand up as well and sort of like get an arm under Ismark's sort of wavering form.
Yeah, he definitely could use the help getting to the door.
Yes, and companionably lead/follow him out.
Okay. As he leads you out, let me double check one thing. I might make sure I put this in. I put this in a very particular part of the map. Let me make sure I put it where I think I did before I say anything. This is the one I want. This is, let's see, zoom in there. There's where it would be. Let me see. Is there going to be a clear? Okay, we'll worry about that later then. Although we could put it there. There, we put it there. Perfect. You start to make your way down the road. So he leads you out south along that street, past the mercantile, past the house where you can now identify that wailing is coming from. It's wafting out of an upper floor window. And it's just inconsolable sobbing. Intermixed with, I did this to her. How could I let this happen? Ismark completely unfazed as you go past the house.
I take it yours is not the only home that has suffered recent loss.
Mad Mary has been speaking to ghosts for decades.
Noted.
Or at least, no, perhaps not. Yes, decades, plural now. For quite some time, many, many years since her husband passed. Even before, I think. We could hear voices from that house.
Fair enough.
As you make your way along, you can see at the end of this road, a very well-apportioned house sits at the top of a hill. But your eyes are also drawn just west of the mansion, where you can make out a large clearing up at the top of a hill, and an aircraft sits parked.
An aircraft, you say?
On that note, each of you has a chance to look at each other once, and the screen goes black. Produced by Lantern Noir presents. To be continued.
Dun, dun, dun.
Gosh, where's Katie when you need her? Where's our mechanic?
Yeah, Caitlin's pretty dead.
DED.
Doesn't seem to be necessarily a barrier at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah, come on.
True.
Come on.
Is she
Come
all
back.
the
Just
way
tell us
dead,
what
or
to
is she
do. We'll do it.
mostly dead?
It's mostly
Mostly dead, not all dead.
Just mostly, not complete. Just their little ounce of life left in her is barely hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, just
We just
take
need
one
a
of those like
chocolate
life
pill.
beans and throw it in chocolate, shove it down her throat.
Yep,
Oh my god.
we're good to go.
How many movie references can we fit in one game?
Quite
All
a
of them.
stinking few, let me tell you. There is no limit on how many of those you can fit. So
The limit does not exist.
now, sadly,
Oh
we
my
are
God.
not going to be here next week. We're taking off Easter because many of us have family commitments, as one does Easter weekend, and we do not want to get in the way of that. But we'll be back the weekend after that. We're going to be up and running again. We get to kind of see some more of this exploring in Barovia and see where it takes all of us. Let's go around the table again. Reintroduce yourself, who you were tonight, and what your star moment of the night was. And we'll go back around the table the opposite direction. So we'll start with OuterDork for our wrap-up.
Right. I am the OuterDork. You can find me here for the most part. And I am playing Louise Harburg, our magician / warlock, who finally took the cloak off some of his dark powers in tonight's session. Highlight for me is definitely the smashing success of my first Dark Whispers and freeing myself up from what was otherwise going to be something of a problem for, as we have shown, the martially disinclined Luis.
Fair enough. And then June?
All right. Hi, I'm June. I played Agnes Devereaux today, our lovely, very skeptical rogue. And my highlight of the day was when Darling was starting up the car that we totally had. And she rolled both a nat 1 and a nat 20 on advantage. And I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
That was a great moment.
That was great.
To be fair, that 20 was technically first in the queue, so it would have been a 20. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay.
That works. And you would have eaten up your next one in the process, so it all checks out.
Exactly.
It all checks out. Speaking of which, Kaitapon, you're up.
My name is Kaitapon, and I was playing Darling Odessa, or what is super, like, the supernaturalist, I guess, because she believes all the things from her homeland.
Superstitious?
Yeah, but put that in a person. Superstitious.
Eustitious.
I'm stitious.
A superstitionist.
A superstitionist. Spell that.
Superstitionist. It's a word.
There you go. Gotcha. There you go. English is easy. Yeah, my favorite night would have just been like, favorite moment was probably just the car, just that I so desperately cranked, gone. Just gone. Used up my rage, cranked the car, rode down X amount of, miles or whatever, and then just turn around. But there's footprints. We totally ran that entire thing without realizing that our legs were hurting. You just, when you black out while you're running, that totally happens all the time. I forget how I got from point A to point B.
So do I.
Totally.
But I do that while driving, not while running.
That's dangerous.
And Arwen?
I'm Arwen. I was playing Amelie St. Clair. I keep wanting to say Chrysanthemum, and I'm not anymore. You can find me. I'm not. You can find me on Instagram. My handle is there. I think in chat under socials. And selfishly, like, I had my first attack of the game was pretty kick butt, and like nobody else was paying attention, but I beat the crap out of that doll my first turn, and I'm pretty proud of that. Aside from that, like, I'm loving the role play. Everybody's just coming together, and the role play has been a lot of fun so far. Everybody's killing it.
It'll be interesting to see how y'all handle all the little vignettes coming down the road, which will be a lot of fun. My name is Rob, aka Lantern Noir. I think for me, I think watching the group have that moment of like, okay, now we have to start fighting and gain ourselves out of there. And mine, I think, had to be the nat 20 on the deception check for the silent illusion. Like, that was just like, okay, yeah, maybe he'll get some disadvantage from it or something, but this guy's got 140 hit points. He hits like a freight train. The goal is to drop one of the party on their way out. And Luis goes, no, you're going to look over there.
Hey, look at that over
shiny.
there.
Yeah, and that worked.
Shiny ghost.
What's that over there?
Worked incredibly well. Some housekeeping before we raid out tonight. We will be back with Dungeons & Dragons content for certain Wednesday night as the Convergence is back. We're going to continue those adventures. We've still got a ways to go. They said we can go as long as we want, as long as we're on the main quest. So I'm going to send them a very far distance along that main quest. And that'll be Wednesday night. And Saturday, we're bringing back the Bitter Victory. So that's going to be back again. And there's still time to sign up at startplaying.games. I'm attempting to run a one-shot Tuesday night. There's a small token fee to participate, but Patreons get a guaranteed free session on Start Playing every month. So that gets waived with your Patreon membership. So just a way of saying thank you for supporting the stream and being part of that. We are going to hang out and have a little chat after this, which will also be available on the Patreon page at patreon.com/lanternnoir. And thank you all for coming out tonight and being part of our game or listening on your podcast platform of choice. You can always find the episodes on YouTube, and you can find them on a delay through the podcast. So if you want to know what happened right away, there are ways to get there. So that being said, let's head out. The Raven Armed is he was going to be doing jump scares tonight. So we're going to send you over there for more scary stuff. We'll see if he gets in there. Right now he's doing a lot of just chatting stuff while he gears up for that. So hopefully he'll give you some good spooks over the course of the evening. But thank you for coming out tonight and being part of it. We will be back in 2 weeks with more adventures in the Barovian Valley. And we'll see you all then. Till then, Stay safe.